Welcome to the No Sugarcoating Podcast. I am Amber Romaniuk, emotional eating, digestive, and hormone expert. I am also the founder of amberapproved.ca. I support professional women achieve optimal health through mindful eating, self-care, and overcoming self-sabotage with food. This podcast provides the honest truth on what you really need to create body freedom. The No Sugarcoating Podcast provides information on healthy living, lifestyle changes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. Always seek the advice of your healthcare practitioner regarding your health and nutrition program. Hello, everybody. Happy episode 197. I can't believe that it's almost episode 200. It's kind of surreal to think that I've been recording this podcast with you guys on my own for 3 years almost. And I'm so grateful and thankful for all of you. So this week I am talking about selfie dysmorphia. So exploring selfie dysmorphia, negative impacts of app filters on body image, and setting healthy boundaries with technology. And I had read an article and obviously I've touched on this maybe a little bit in other aspects, but I really wanted to talk about this because I think it is disturbing, and it is something that is become so common, sadly, in our society now. And I really wanted to talk about this, whether it's you or your kids or your friends, your family members, your coworkers that may be dealing with this, because I think it's so important that we start to, support this, because it's not something that, I want to see continue to evolve. So I want to share about it. And my word of the week this week is trust. And the reason my word of the week is trust is because sometimes I feel like, we can have certain things that we can get caught up in, and we can worry about them, or we can fear, or we can get frustrated or upset about them. And the one thing that I've learned is the more, when I have situations come up that may be stressful or uncomfortable, instead of wasting precious energy worrying or fearing or frustrating or getting angry or sad or whatever that is, when I sit in trust, I'm grounded, I keep my power, and I keep my energy for myself. And then often whatever I wanted to happen or whatever I wanted to work out does. And like the scenarios that the ego always makes up never do. So the word of the week is trust. Amber Approved offers private coaching for hormonal imbalances, weight loss and digestive issues, emotional eating, and more. Contact Amber at amberapproved.ca to book your 30-minute complimentary consultation today. So let's dive right into the first topic today. So exploring selfie dysmorphia. So the first thing I want to do is share a little bit about selfie dysmorphia. So selfie dysmorphia is a body image disorder defined as a need to heavily edit one's own digital image and an intense dissatisfaction with one's own appearance after using digital filters. So this is like your Snapchat, your Instagram, any, apps online where you can literally take a picture of yourself and alter pretty much anything. And then when you don't realize that that image is altered and not the real you, and you go and look in the mirror, it can skew your image and your view of yourself. And then you're looking in the mirror, picking yourself apart even more, going, oh my gosh, I want to change all these parts of me, and I want to look like my filter. I want to look like these celebrities that have had all this work done to them. It's just, I think we've gotten such an unrealistic image of like beauty and confidence and self-love from the social media digital age and all of these apps. So this term was created by a UK-based cosmetic surgeon after he really noticed an alarming trend: patients seeking surgery to look like their filtered pictures. This is alarming. This is concerning to me. I see an abundance of women and men, but more so women, especially on like Instagram and social media. And not that I'm like pinpointing certain like body parts that I'm noticing, but I have never in my life seen so many lip injections and Botox and lip fillers. Like I feel like we're starting to look like a different race because of all of the plastic surgery and injections and fillers that women are getting at such a young age, starting in their teens when they're still growing and developing, and it could be dangerous for the body. And then we're seeing a lot of breast implants and butt implants. And it's not that I'm against like, hey, if you're flat chested and you want to have more femininity and go and get a breast augmentation, like that's completely up to you. But for a lot of these women, it's this dysmorphia. It's not feeling good enough. It's feeling insecure in your body. So people are going and getting all this plastic surgery because they think that that's what they need to be loved and accepted, or that's what they need to make money. And when we have some of the biggest trendsetters in the world being, the Kardashians and the Jenners, who are very much have had a lot of plastic surgery and use a lot of filters and have spent a lot of money on their bodies to look the way they do and to make the money that they do. Not that I ever want to I'm not bashing them, but I just think that sometimes it's the wrong influence, or it's just not a healthy influence if young women are growing up and women of any age are comparing themselves to people like that who have shifted their own looks for, their own insecurities or to make money or whatever that is. Each person is to their own, but I just think it's so important that we address these epidemics that are having a negative impact on society, on our health, on, the young generations growing up, and or whatever age you are that this may be affecting you. There may be senior citizens, women in their, 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, of course, 30s, 20s, and teens are huge. And now we're seeing girls as young as 5 go on diets and develop eating disorders because of the body comparison, the body pressure, social media, the photoshopping of pictures in magazines. It is just absolutely profound and shocking how much this has changed. And I think I want to share a quote from this doctor, this UK-based cosmetic surgeon, and he shares one of the strangest things I have ever had a patient request is wanting bigger eyes, like the filter that the patient had used. It was impossible to give her bigger eyes, and I tried to explain many times why surgically and non-surgically this could not happen. The fact that social media and filters are skewing the perception of people to this level to where they think they could go and get bigger eyes, that's profound. And I know not everybody is doing that, but obviously this is having a huge impact. And so a study by the American Academy of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery revealed a 24% increase in cosmetic surgery or injectables in patients under the age of 30 since 2013. That is a huge increase if you really think about it. And again, I've just seen this influx of fake huge lips. I'm sorry. If you have, injectables in your lips and you have really small lips, but for these women who literally looks like a bee stung you in the lips, it just doesn't look natural. To me, that doesn't look beautiful. Personally, I don't think I could ever get plastic surgery to fight aging or to look a certain way to put out a certain image, because I love my body and I love myself. And I spent too many years fighting with my body that the last thing I'd want to do is kind of almost betray her and put all these harsh things into my body that could have negative impact on my health that I worked so hard to shift. I think a lot of this does come down to body insecurities. I know a lot of influencers who have been on television or reality TV, and they claim that they get trolled so much on social media, and my heart goes out because even, we look at someone maybe I won't name names, but I just noticed a lot of people that I've seen when they've started their career and then 5 years later, and they're just have had so much work done, and they share that part of it was the pressure of their fame, of the trolling that happened. And obviously I think I have an inkling that a part of that is to do with the insecurities that they didn't deal with or weren't able to deal with before they became famous. Then you have hundreds of thousands or millions of people messaging you, commenting on your posts and saying really negative things. And I'm sure that would have potentially a negative impact on who you are if you are insecure already and you take personally what complete strangers have to say about you. And I don't think it's okay for people to be making those negative comments. That being said, I don't think that the answer or the resolution is to go and completely alter your body, and then you're still insecure anyway because you then almost become addicted to plastic surgery and all these procedures that you have to upkeep. I think it's so important to actually work through the insecurities and work through the struggles that you're having with your body image, with the society pressures, with the negative, the negative comments. I'm obviously not a famous celebrity, but if, as my business grows and my impact across the world grows, I'm not going to go and change my body. If people make negative comments, I'm just going to have somebody go in and delete those negative comments and take a stand for being, this being a safe and positive place for people to share positive things or to come in and share what you're struggling with and get support. So again, this is all just my opinion, but I really wanted to talk about this today because it's just like, it's shocking. It's like there's this different race of people on this earth who have had all this plastic surgery who just look fake. They look plastic. They don't look fully like naturally human. And I think we've, in a sense, almost forgotten that we are human. We are here. We're born as babies. We grow up, child, adolescents, teenagers, adults. And aging is part of the human process. Like maybe you find a great natural cream that helps with anti-aging, but I think to go and spend like thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars on plastic surgery to try to reverse something that is inevitably going to happen to every single one of us. It's just like, why can't you embrace and be grateful for your body at each stage of your journey? Because honestly, I hope I make it to be old and wrinkly because that means I've made it and that I've lived a long life and ideally a healthy life. So like bring on the wrinkles down the road because that means that I'm still here and I've lived a good life. Like that's a really, I think, like positive thing to look at. Like if you're here still at that time and your hair's getting gray and you're wrinkling, you're living life still and you're living a longer life, and that's exciting. So I didn't mean, well, whatever. I got off topic and it's all good. So now I'm going to come back. But I think that's just like so profound, even just what I've already shared. And so I want to ask you, and you can totally like email me your responses at info@amberapproved.ca because I'd love to hear your opinions and your thoughts, or you can DM me on Instagram. But have you ever felt like you've needed to use a filter or an app to like share yourself on social media? I see a lot of women, influencers, business owners, celebrities who will not go on their Instagram stories without wearing makeup. And they're always using a filter, and they're kind of almost putting themselves down going, I just don't look very good today. So thank God for this Instagram filter. And it's like, really? Like, but what if you actually look beautiful without makeup, or just a little bit of makeup, or even if you have a full face of makeup? Like, why do you feel the need to have to use a filter which shifts who you are and your looks? Is it because you're insecure? Is it because you're so used to it that you just don't feel like you look good enough? You're embarrassed. You feel like you're going to be judged or shamed. Like, why do you have to use the filter? I think people have become addicted to it, and I think it has really skewed and morphed our views of our body and what is truly us and what is this like fake made up thing on a filter. Like sometimes for fun, and it's maybe like once a month, but I'll go on Snapchat. Like I never use Snapchat. For me, I'm not interested in it, but I'll sometimes go on to like flip through the filters. And for me, it's more about like, oh, what are the funny ones where it like makes my teeth look weird, or like your face is like, I don't know, it just like completely changes your hair, and like a funny wig goes on, and like these funny glasses and the voice changer. I think that's hilarious, and I'll like make a little video and like send it to a friend or my boyfriend or something like for fun. But other than that, like I don't, just because of I love my body and I love who I am, and I want people to see me rather than a filter that was made in a technological way. So it's just like, why can't we express ourselves, and why do we need to hide behind filters? Because there's this like society projection of like, you need to look a certain way to be loved, or you need to look a certain way to make a certain amount of money or get a certain amount of likes or attention. And it's just become way too much about external versus going inside and going, I feel good enough. I know I'm worthy. I know I'm enough. And therefore I can choose to go on and just show myself regardless of what I look like today. Now, fair enough. Like, I know you want to, if you have a business and you're presenting yourself in your business, like, you want to look professional, that's totally understandable. But I think it's also great to show the more relaxed side of yourself as well, if that resonates. But I think it's up to each person. But I think if it comes down to insecurities and negative self-judgment, and that's why you're becoming reliant on this technology to show yourself on social media, that there's actually inner work, self-love and self-worth work to do. So like, apps can do everything to the body now. They can thin and cut off, make your nose smaller, make your cheekbones more pronounced and sharpened, make your eyes bigger or wider, smooth and lighten your skin, like make your waist look smaller, your legs, give you a flat stomach, like essentially helping you to create that like magazine Photoshop look that, models and celebrities have used in their own photo shoots and in those kinds of, public figures and media, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And it's like this flawless kind of superficial look, and that a lot of these celebrities are achieving. Like, they're doing a full face of makeup, full body of makeup in some cases. They're getting photoshopped. And a lot of what you see is not actually the real them. Like, and then, what I dislike is when you see a magazine front cover and they've taken a picture of the same celebrity and they've like zoomed in on their cellulite and like taken a different angle. And they're like, oh, this person's gained weight. This person has cellulite. Like they've let themselves go. And it's like, no, like, why do you have to look at it like that? Actually, what if this woman and is an inspiration and is going, I have cellulite too. It's totally okay. You know what? It's totally okay to embrace all angles of your body in a photo, right? It's totally okay to not always look perfect. It's totally okay to dress up and doll yourself up to the nines and have your makeup done and everything. And it's also totally okay if you have your hair in a bun with absolutely no makeup on, but it's to not judge either side, and it's to not favor one side over the other, in my opinion. So it's like these apps, they hide your flaws. And I think that's a sad thing because it's quickly becoming an unrealistic standard of beauty. It's obviously having a very negative impact on self-esteem of young women and women, of course, men as well. So I wanted to kind of segue into some of the negative impacts that apps and filters are having on people's body image and their relationship with themselves. So one thing I was reading, there was another study that talked about there is an increase in anxiety and depression in young women up to from 16 to 24%. Again, that's a huge shift in the last 6 years. And so in essence, if there's more mental health issues and these young girls are then, going to diets and diet pills, extreme eating styles, they're consuming more alcohol, they're trying prescription drugs to deal with, their feelings, and or they are, saving up their money to get plastic surgery. Like, people are spending loads of money on dangerous plastic surgeries to look like these apps and filters. In 2017, 55% of surgeons reported seeing patients who request surgery to improve their appearance in selfies, up 42% from 2015. Like, that's a big shift. That's a huge shift. And it's fueling eating disorders. It's obviously fueling body dysmorphia. It's fueling extreme diets, extreme exercise. It's fueling negative self-talk. And I don't think people sometimes even realize that there's a huge difference between technology and something that's made up on a screen and the reality of seeing yourself, living in your body, and seeing yourself in the mirror. It's you and yourself and your body. You are a real human being. What you see on a screen, what you edit on a photo, is completely altered and different and fake. And whilst if we have the self-connection and we know that it's not real, you can have fun with it and not become attached to it and almost convince yourself that this is what you need to look like. I think you can have a healthy relationship with yourself and your body and with technology, but then a line gets crossed where the obsession, it's almost like an addiction. And then this insecurity of I can't go on social media without a filter. I think that's something that has evolved with technology and social media. I think it's unrealistic to expect to look like a filter. People are forgetting to embrace their bodies. and their looks and what makes them unique, and your ethnicity and your skin color and your hair color and your eye color and your shape and your curves and your butt and your legs and your breasts or your pecs and your, your muscles, or, your small frame or your curvy frame or whatever kind of frame you have. Like, I think it's so important to embrace your unique self, because you are the only you on this entire earth. And if you are unhappy with your body, then to me, that's a sign that there's an opportunity to work on your insecurities and build a healthy body image and build a self-love and a relationship with yourself, rather than disconnect from all that and go and rely on an app to, it's almost like empty calories, but it's an app. It's like empty fulfillment of something that isn't going to fulfill you. The filters aren't going to make you love yourself. They're not going to help other people see who you really are. And I think it's so important that we embrace us as a human being and who we are, because we are much more valuable than the technology we use. Whilst humans created technology, I think it's so important to create healthy boundaries with technology, which I'll talk about in my last point. But I think it is unrealistic to expect to look like a filter. Think of like your parents, they had you, and like you're a miracle, right? And whilst we all have different things maybe about our bodies that we're like, but it's to embrace it. Like, I embrace every part of me. There's this beautiful like video that I saw a long time ago, and it was this man, and he had written a letter to his wife sharing all the things that he loved about her body, like her stretch marks and like her tummy, because she'd had their children, and like and it was just like so beautiful. It like made me cry at the time, because I was just like, and she, she was so grateful to receive that gift, and it helped her to really learn how to love and accept herself and to embrace, like, I embrace the stretch marks that I have, not from because I haven't had children, but from the 1,000 pounds that I lost in my mid-20s, and that my body like went back and forth with all that. I'm so grateful and thankful that my digestion put up with all the heck that I put her through in my 20s. I'm so grateful my hormones balance. Like, I have little appendix scars when I had to get my appendix out, and I'm grateful that I could get that surgery, because otherwise, I mean, if your appendix explodes and you don't do anything about it, you won't be here for very long. Right? So it's like embracing these different parts of us. And I have different scars from hiking. And this one particular one on my wrist, my cat Fluffy, when I was in grade 5 and we were playing and she scratched me. And I will always have that memory though of my cat, right? It's just like, there's so many things to celebrate about our bodies. And if there's things like, certain symptoms you're having that you're not happy with, well, then you can take the action to resolve those symptoms. So say you're noticing that you've put on more abdominal weight. Well, that could be potentially if you have a thyroid or hormone imbalance like cortisol, adrenal fatigue. Like, you can take the actions to get support and investigate things if you're feeling as though, like, I physically feel like there's something going on, or emotionally feel like there's something going on. Yes, you can take action steps to address those things, but to just use filters to cut and edit your body and to continue to shame your body, but not actually do the inner work, I think that's totally what's missing. And I think we need to see more apps created around like self-love and loving your body and building that. Maybe I'll create one day. And so then, not only along with the rise of social media is this abundance of cosmetic procedures, that I think have been fueled by the online world. There's been a significant increase in the number of young people seeking Botox, dermal fillers, and other cosmetic treatments for lip plumping, cheek filling, and anti-wrinkle antidotes at much younger ages than expected. Like, I saw one girl, and this is just an observation, but she essentially was like, well, I'm 30 now, so I don't want to get wrinkles, so here come the Botox and the fillers. And I'm just going like, you're only 30. Like, you don't need that. You're so youthful. You're so young. I mean, each to their own, but I was just like quite surprised. It's quite a habit to get into at such a young age. And many injectable brands are also shifting their marketing strategies, targeting a younger demographic under the premise of preventative beauty care regimes, when it's just really a marketing ploy to say, hey, we want to make more money. We know that you're like wanting to look like all these young celebrities and influencers. So come get all these injections. So it's huge. And like I said, I've never seen it more predominant than it is now. And I think it's unrealistic to have an expectation of yourself through a lens and to then feel that you need to look like that all the time. So another question I have is, do you think that filters, social media filters, are disconnecting us from building self-love, self-worth, and self-acceptance? Because I really think they are. I really think they are. Because at the end of the day, when you are in your 80s or 90s and you look back, are you going to want to, regret that you didn't learn how to love yourself and accept yourself, and instead you got a ton of plastic surgery, and by the time you're 50 or 60, you look like you're 90? Or do you want to go, I'm so happy that I recognized I had body insecurities. I didn't succumb to like having to get a bunch of plastic surgery, which didn't fill the void, or I didn't have to, rely on using apps and filters to feel good enough about myself because I did the work. I did the work to feel better about myself. And that is so fulfilling, to fill that void, that self-love void. Because if you want to really have true confidence, you want to love yourself, you want to feel good enough and worthy, nothing external will fill that void for you. The void is internal, and it is something that you can only give yourself by doing the inner work, by supporting your health, by working on your mindset, working on your mental health, your emotions, changing the way you view yourself, and actually disconnecting from social media, these apps, these filters, and what you see online, because a lot of what you see online has been altered, photoshopped, and or again, like has been perfected to a T by the makeup artists and the experts that make these celebrities and public figures look a certain way so that they can make a lot of money and gain a lot of attention. So it's to understand a lot of it is for entertainment and it's not real. And if there are people that naturally are just absolutely like look like a filter, but they're not using it, like, great, I'm happy for you too, because I think it's important for everybody to feel good enough and not be shamed if you are like fitting, quote unquote, what society thinks is beautiful. I think it's important for everybody to embrace their body, no matter their shape, size, color, anything at all. And again, if you're not happy with yourself, there's some beautiful inner work for you to do. So let's talk about setting healthy boundaries with technology and with these filters. So I think if this is something you are struggling with, I would highly encourage you to get support, to learn how to love yourself, to work through the body image struggles, to learn the difference between what is reality and to embrace and be grateful for your beautiful body and everything she does for you, versus a fake app and or an app online that is not real. It's not realistic. That's skewing your image. It can become addicting for some of these people to be using these apps all the time and become reliant on them and then feel like they can't, show who they really are. Like that is part of the insecurity. For some people, you may want to delete these apps. You may want to get rid of them and or limit your time on them, or you may want to only allow yourself to choose filters that are funny, but that you don't feel pressured like you have to use them to look good enough on your Instagram or your social media or wherever you're using them. So I think that it's important to limit your amount of technology time. Spend more time on self-care. Set up a really beautiful self-care ritual, because a lot of my clients will share with me as we start working together, like, oh man, I spend like 2 hours on Facebook and Instagram, like aimlessly scrolling. And then they say they have no time for self-care. And then they're like, oh my goodness, I could start spending some of that aimless scrolling time doing self-care. And the self-care helps them build their self-worth. How fascinating is that? So if you spend less time on technology and you spent more time connecting with yourself, building your self-worth, saying nice things to yourself, giving yourself compliments, getting enough sleep, eating mindfully, working through, the binge eating, the emotional eating, the body image struggles, you will see a huge shift in your mood, your confidence, your spouses, your kid, everyone around you will notice, because it's a very positive, inspiring shifts. And it's totally life-changing, because you really want to like fall victim to an app. Do you really want to give your power away to a piece of technology that if we didn't have power would go away tomorrow? Or do you really want to learn how to love and embrace yourself as you are at every moment through your life? Because you are beautiful and you are uniquely you, and that is a gift. And I don't want anyone to let technology take that away from them. Because a lot of women that get all this plastic surgery after the fact regret how much they got and how quickly they got it and how dangerous it was. And some of their lives are threatened and people have died from it. Now that's worst case scenario, but you don't want to regret. You don't want to wish you didn't do it. And I highly doubt one day you want to wake up and look in the mirror and not even know who you see. So let's build healthy boundaries with this technology. Let's get rid of the apps and or limit the time on them and really start to recognize that this is not who you really are, and you don't need a filter to be good enough, to be loved, to be successful. What is important is to be yourself. That is the key here, is to learn how to accept and love who you are. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to go through the show notes here. So the show notes can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/197. A friendly reminder to subscribe to the No Sugarcoating podcast on all podcast apps. You can click the link in the show notes. You can also listen to all episodes at amberapproved.ca/podcast/podcast -archive, ARCHIVE. And thank you to everyone for all the beautiful 5-star ratings and reviews that I've been getting lately. I'm so grateful for all of you. If you do want to leave a review or a 5-star rating, you can do so on your phone or computer by going to your podcast app, searching for the No Sugarcoating podcast. You do have to search for it. And then once you're on my main page, you can click on reviews, write a review in purple, give me 5 stars if you like, or both. And again, I'm very grateful and thankful for all of the support. So you'll definitely want to check out the new website. Amberapproved.ca has been up for a few weeks. There's a great emotional eating quiz. There's some new videos. There's some, really beautiful new content there. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you check that out. And I really hope that you guys like it. The emotional eating quiz is there as well, and the link for that is in the show notes. Are you looking for more energy? Do you need motivation to make yourself a priority? Perhaps you know that you thrive off of having accountability and mentorship to help you stay on track with your eating, self-care, and exercise. I've been sharing a little bit about my fall group program. It is an 8-week program, and it's called Jump Into Your Body Freedom. And this is a beautiful program to help you clean up your eating, start identifying your emotional eating triggers, jumpstart your energy, eliminate your cravings, and start your fall slim down. We've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas, we've got Halloween coming. There's a lot of food-related holidays that I know my clients can, have struggles with if they don't have a healthy relationship with food. So there's a beautiful opportunity to not only potentially look at the group program or private coaching, but to consider when you hit the new year, how do you want to feel about your body and your relationship with food? So this group program is great if you want to increase your energy, eliminate cravings for things like sugar and salt, have better moods, improve your energy, increase your performance for fitness, and begin to address those emotional eating triggers, as well as start to identify why you may be hanging on to weight. So you can email me at info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line Fall Group Program to explore having a conversation. We'll book a 30-minute body freedom call, and we will talk more about the group program. I will answer your questions. And of course, for the first 5 people who sign up, it is 50% off. So I do have a few of those spots left. So make sure that you reach out. Again, it's info@amberapproved.ca. The information will be in the show notes, so you can click right through. And I, of course, look forward to connecting with you, whether it's to talk about the group program or private coaching. It's just really great to have that conversation and connect and have a conversation. So thank you again for listening to the podcast. As I always say, there's no better time than the present to take action on your health. So take action now. Have a beautiful day, a great week. Oh my gosh, I've got so many exciting things that are going to be coming up with the podcast and guests and new content. So stay tuned. So grateful for all of you. Take care. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe, review, and rate this podcast and share it with your friends. You can find me at amberapproved.ca and follow me on Instagram and YouTube at Amber Romaniuk. Join me next Sunday for another brand new episode and another step toward body freedom.